Hey, what's up guys? It's Pedro here from NoobCoder.com, and in this tutorial I want to do nested loops. Now, in this particular video I am going to be using for loops, but keep in mind that you can do this with while loops as well. So a nested for loop is just a loop within a loop. So I'm going to give you an example real quick. So just as I'm typing out this example, you can think of the outer for loop as representing the row and the inner for loop as representing the columns. So you could think of a nested for loop sort of like a table or as a grid. So in this particular case, this is a 3x3 grid or a 3x3 table, however you want to think about it. So just to prove what's going on here, let's do some print statements within our for loop. Value of I is I. Now remember, this is going to represent the row and this is going to represent the column. And now here, I'm going to type value of j is plus j. Let's run this. So now let's see how this for loop is executing. So first, this for loop gets executed because it's before this one. So you see that the value of I is 0. So that means the row is 0. Now I get into this code. The inner for loop gets executed how many times? 3 times, because it's a loop. This for loop will keep executing until this condition is no longer valid. So you see j gets executed 3 times. 0, 1, 2. Now, after I'm done with this inner for loop, hey, remember, we haven't finished with our outer for loop. Now the value of I is 1. Is 1 less than 3? Yes. So you can see that here, I is 1. Then you see that the inner for loop gets executed 3 times again. Then I becomes 2. Then the inner for loop gets executed 3 times again. And then finally, this condition is no longer met. Kick us out of this for loop. So it's pretty straightforward. And to give you more of an example of why you could think of it as a grid, let's give a more visual example. So let's say I want to print out a square, a 3x3 square. So how would I do that? Well, I could do a print statement within the inner for loop, print a star, and with a space. And after every row of stars we print, I want a new line. So if I run this, you'll see that we get a 3x3 grid, exactly as you would expect. So that is pretty much the basics of a nested loop. And please keep in mind that you can do this for while loops. So this is nothing special for fors. It's just, it's easier to explain using for loops. So I hope you learned something, and I hope to see you in the next tutorial. Like, comment, subscribe.